Guys, no embargo on Gats or Alan Wynne. Gats, you pick us on.
Warren, start 2 changes to the team. Just outline why you made those changes.
Trying to really still think about the bigger picture in terms of hopefully later on in the tournament, so a couple of players get an opportunity, and Ross Moriarty coming back, and he's hungry, and then James Davis as well at 7. We've been really happy with Justin Tipurick's form, but it just gives us an opportunity to look at someone else if for any sort of reason he does pick up an injury. It shows us whether James can fit into that spot, or someone like Josh Navidi, we know he can play 7 as well. So the 2 guys that are very hungry for an opportunity, and Reece Curry comes on the bench as well. So probably keeping everyone on their toes a little bit. And I did say to James when I congratulated him, said well done, and his reply was, "You finally seen the light, have you?" So he said, "I'm only joking." So. And I loved that. I thought it was brilliant. What a great response. I love a bit of banter like that, and I have no problem with comments like that. And it just says to me, players believe in their own ability, and they want to be in the squad, and they think they're good enough to be in the starting side. So I thought it was a really good response. So a lot of the same players, and just a couple of changes.
With how well Justin Tipurick played in those first 2 games, was it difficult to rest him?
Look, he was disappointed, but he'll probably start the game against Uruguay and bring some experience to that side as well. He did have quite a slight thigh strain before, not a strain, but tight in his quad before Australia, where we just eased him up in a day. Look, he was 100% fit for that game, and he was 100% available for this game as well. So it just, like I said, we're trying to look at that bigger picture. Hopefully moving on in this tournament.
With Dan Bigger coming through, how much of a boost is that for you?
Yeah, it's good. Having that experience is pretty important for us as well, and that's it's been a bigger boost for us. Look, he was fine the next day and was gone through all his protocols, and it was good that we had that extended break before this game coming up. So look, he had a bit more time, and so really from Friday, it was kind of like Friday was our normal Monday, sort of normal test preparations in terms of that 4-week cycle. So we've sort of a bit mixed up with the days at the moment. So we're actually we're Thursday today. So even I can't even remember what days it is. So we're trying to get things right in terms of having a full test week preparation.
Fiji had made 1 change. What did you make of their team and also their performance against Georgia?
Yeah, it was they made a change at 7 as well. So it's they got some quality individuals, and I thought again, and we found that as well with the Australian game with the 6-day turnaround, and Georgia obviously had a short turnaround before that game against Fiji, and I thought Georgia were pretty good in the first half, only down 7-3. I know that Fiji's try was against a runner play as well. Then typical Ireland side, when they get some confidence and belief, they're incredibly dangerous, and they were really strong in that second half and scored, I think, 3 tries in the last 12 minutes as well. So they got some real threats, and we've just got to make sure that we focus on ourselves, and we've had a good break and a good preparation leading to this game, but it's going to be a tight game. And we saw that first half against Australia, and coming out against Australia, they're dangerous. So we've got to make sure that we shut their space down and shut the time on the ball, and we've got to defend really well. I know Sean's been speaking to the players all week about putting in an 80-minute performance defensively. We haven't done that yet, even though we've been good defensively, I thought. But we haven't put that 80 minutes in. One of the pleasing things of the first 2 games is how well we've started. I think our starts have been exceptional, so it's important for us on Wednesday that we go out there and start well, and hopefully take a little bit of that excitement away from Fiji. And for them, they're sort of in the same boat with that 6-day turnaround that we faced with Australia as well.
Have you had a look at Pool C, England and France, potential quarter-final opponents?
No, we are just concentrating on these next 2 games, and then we will sort of focus about, hopefully we're in a position we're in control of our own destiny. We know that, and there's a lot of benefits about winning the group in terms of turnaround time and choices of hotels and stuff, and obviously psychologically, if you do win the group and win these 4 games, then you're up against a team that's lost a game as well. So but we haven't spoken at all about potential quarterfinal opponents. I think the players haven't done that. I think they're well aware of the possibilities, but it's important that we focus 100% on Fiji, and then you've got a 4-day turnaround to Uruguay, which is going to be challenging for us as well. So when we get through that, then we can start thinking about what's further on down the line.
Some adverse weather warnings are coming in at the end of the weekend. Is anything to take into consideration at this point?
There's nothing you can do about that, is it? If you I don't want to waste any negative energy on something that I can't change. So we've had some updates in the past from World Rugby regarding potential sort of weather stuff, and we'll just deal with it when it comes. So we won't be thinking about that. We'll just focus on the game, and if things change, then we'll just deal with it at the time.
Warren Gatland plays again at scrum half. He seems to enjoy playing at World Cup. Scored a lot of tries in the last 2. What have you made of him at scrum half?
Yeah, I think he's just showing probably that experience and maturity now. I know that we've always had some slight criticism of the past that just on his conditioning, but I can tell you he came into this pre-World Cup camps. He'd done a lot of work. He was in great physical shape. All 3 nines are in really good shape, and they've tested each other and pushed each other right to the limits. So I said to before the game against Australia, I said, I think he'll score a try today. So look, he's got a great record at scoring tries, and I've just seen him probably grow with confidence. His voice has been good. The decision making has been good. There's aspects of his game that he's still really working hard on in terms of his box kicking and stuff, but and we give him a free license defensively. He's outstanding at timing and coming off the line and putting sort of that from about 3rd defender, sort of putting those players under pressure. And we've seen in the past that anticipation in terms of getting intercepts of the balls in there for too long as well. So we've been very, very pleased with him. But in saying that, we've got 2 other quality 9s who can do a job if they're called upon as well.
In the other coaching box, John McKee, is he a guy you've crossed paths with back in New Zealand or elsewhere?
Not in New Zealand. I think the last World Cups, I think he's been involved with Fiji for a long time. So look, he's obviously done a really good job with them, and Tobias Matson's with Fiji, and I'll be hooking up with Tobias with the Chiefs when I go back to New Zealand as well. So I'm looking forward to catching up with him. And probably they are kicking themselves that they lost that game to Uruguay, because it would have put more emphasis on Wednesday for them in terms of how important it is. But in saying that, it's their last game, and I'm sure that they'll want to finish off on a high, and we don't want them to spoil the party for us.
What's the mood been like in the squad since Australia? Where do you think the squad is compared to previous World Cups?
We had a few days off to recover, recuperate, travel, etc. So we had a good day where everyone trained and did a pretty much tailor-made session to whatever their requirements were, because obviously a few guys have played, a few hadn't, and now we're into the latter stages of our test week. So it's been good to recuperate, refocus, and come here to prepare for the game. With regards to where we are, I think we're very well aware that it's still only half job done. Literally just for the pool stages, we're 2 games down with 2 games to go. We had 2 great starts, like Gat said, potentially taking our foot off the gas in the latter stage of those 2 games. So again, we won an 80-minute performance in defence that Sean has pushed, but Stephen Jones is still urging us to play and keep pressuring us to play as well. And that's a nice thing that we've got improvements in the game in quite a few areas to take us to the end of the pool stages.
That must be quite exciting for you as a team to know that you've had 2 good wins, but there's some
Yeah, well, like I say, they're not complete. You know, I don't think there's any such thing as a perfect game, but the results speak for themselves. It's just a case of keep working and using time wisely. Time is you know, increasingly finite to this stage of this campaign, but we just hopefully we can use it wisely and put the product on the park.
And when you've seen both sides of Fiji's in World Cups 2007, 11 and 15, what are the dangers that they pose?
I think you look at the leagues they play in across the world, and I think probably their players usually centre around some of the most exciting aspects of play in those said leagues. We know their offload ability and how dangerous they can be, coupled with some interesting plays around set piece. So we have to be on our guard. You know, whether you're playing in an autumn campaign World Cup, they're always dangerous, and thus we're well aware of the individual threats they pose also.
Warren, do you still feel like you're in that position you like, sort of slightly under the radar, lots of noise about other teams, and you're quietly going about your business too, set up quite nicely before so far?
Yeah, I haven't really taken much notice of how the Paul's obviously been watching the games, but you know, we've just been focused on ourselves and yeah, and just carrying on from Alan Wynn there. I don't think, you know, we know there's improvements in our games as well, but I don't think probably a lot of other teams out there as well feel like they haven't put you know, performance together, and I think we'll definitely see a step up when, you know, quarterfinals come around and stuff. So there's probably a little bit of jockeying going on at the moment, but yeah, we're just nicely placed. We've been very lucky with the hospitality that we've had since we've been here in Japan, and the hotel's been brilliant. The people have been so welcoming. So that's, you know, that's kind of been nice from a cultural point of view, and you know, it's been different. So the boys are working hard, you know, at training, and we're still pushing them hard and being pretty demanding on them. So tough day on today. 2 days ago, we had a tough a day, but you know, the boys got through that, and the, you know, sort of comments afterwards from the players, you know, just sort of money in the bank for, you know, for this week and hopefully for later on as well. So you know, today will be you know, good sharp session, not long, sort of around about 50 minutes, but you know, it's really about our last training session today and counting down, and then really tomorrow it's over to the players with the captain's run, and then they fully take control of that sort of last 48 hours.
Warren, there's always a lot of talk about Fiji and the way they play when you play against them. Is there a worry that you could be focusing too much on them and about yourselves? Is there a danger of that as well?
Focusing too much on them?
Yeah, there's always a lot of talk about how they attack and the talents they have.
No, I think the way that we've prepared, we've obviously looked at them. They've got threats at the breakdown. They've had a lot of turnovers at the breakdown, so the contact area is very, very important for us, and we thought we were good in that area against Australia and sort of nullifying their threats. So that's been a focus for us, and a focus, you know, some things in the Australian game where, particularly in the second half of Australia, they drove well and their scrum got on top. So, you know, we have to make it uncomfortable for Fiji, and so that's the focus for us in terms of having a balance between taking their forwards into positions and making them work hard and looking to take their legs away from them, but then also recognising the ability that when we need to play, and we've created lots of chances so far in the first 2 games, and chances that they haven't converted. So we're, you know, working hard on doing that and just picking the right moments that when we play a tight game, you know, looking to put ourselves under a bit of pressure, we're keeping the ball in the park and keep moving the players around and like I said, trying to take that excitement away from them, because and that's why I said how important the start is for us, because we have started exceptionally well in those first couple of games, and just looking at Fiji, they come out and they look like a team that are really excited for that first 20 or 30 minutes, and the more they're in the game, or the more they can feel like they're getting something out of it, then the more dangerous they are. So we've got to, you know, negate that, and we've got to But yeah, we've looked at them, but it's definitely about us imposing ourselves and making sure that we're smart and accurate in the way that we play.
Warren, Josh Navidi gets another start.
Yep.
In the last 2 years, he's pretty much played every time he's fit. What's impressed you most about him over those last couple of years?
He's just unassuming. He's just tough. You know, he doesn't. Yeah, he just runs hard, tackles hard, does the basics well. Doesn't make many mistakes. Good in the contact area. Yeah, he's a quality player, and I know there's in the past a lot of people had been pushing for him, but that he has unfortunately had a few injuries over periods as well. But when he's been fit, he's been an integral part of that sort of loose forward trio because, like I said, I think he is unassuming. He is underrated. And I remember speaking to John Mitchell after we played England at home, and he just said that the English boys have a lot of respect for him as a player as well. So that to me is a recognition of a quality. And a few years ago, Steve Henson, I think it was one of his first games he played the All Blacks, and Steve Henson said, "Where'd you get that number 7 come out of?" You know, so. But we're very lucky in that department. I think we've got some real quality loose forwards who are all capable of doing a job, and there's some real competition there.
Well, Aaron Wainwright, similar to Justin Tipuric, he's on the bench. How did he take news he wasn't starting?
He's
What
just
would you expect from him?
obviously he's disappointed and what things to work on. I thought, having looked back at his game against Australia, he was very good in that first half, and that start of the second half, he's missed a couple of tackles and things. He's only just turned 22, and so I'm just mindful of where he's come from really in the last 12 months. So having his first Test match to being in a World Cup and playing against the best players in the world, and he's just he's on a steep learning curve, but he's soaking up as much information as he can, and for him it's making sure he's which he is very, very good at, all the little detail things about his line out attack, line out defence, his roles defensively and things. And when he first came in, it was just go out there and play and enjoy yourself. But he's just had to really fast track himself, and we're trying to fast track him as well, because very quiet individual. But at this level, you have to have a voice on the field. You have to be vocal, and he's something that he's working hard on to make sure he's got a vocal voice, whether it's attack or defence, and communicating with players. And those things are paramount in good sides. You can see how. With experience, they talk a lot and are really vocal out there on the pitch, and so that's something that we've had to fast track him. But he's made amazing progress. We're really happy with him as well. He's a great athlete, and he's just going to go from strength to strength. So, so look, we feel he'll come on and get some good time coming off the bench, and I've emphasised in the last year or so, just how important our bench has been. That has been I think the critical factor that's tipped us over in terms of the run of wins that we had and the success that we've had, because we've had on a number of occasions real impact coming off the bench, and guys giving us some momentum, some energy, and we haven't always had that in the past. And so that's he'll play an important role coming off the bench on Wednesday.
Final question, please.
How impressed have you been by the younger players, and what did you make of winning the Bobby Cup?
Younger players, I think, I don't see any young players. I think people are putting their hands up. It's the cliche, we've all heard it, if you're good enough, you're old enough, and I think that's where we are at the minute. There's a few guys still chomping a little bit to get their opportunity, but the way their response for non-selection and training is what you want. We see ourselves as a 31, not just a 23 or a 15, and that's the major mentality we need for any campaign, whether it's Six Nations or an autumn. So everybody's there and willing, and I alluded to it last time we spoke about everyone being ready post Australia, and I think we're still maintaining that, and that's the most important thing for me. Regards to the Bobby Cup, we just got to make sure we get another 2 wins to get another one, and that's a very special reward.